Hello, this is Valerie Bothe Garrett, here with May Dances, Games, and Songs for Early Childhood, one in our Master Class series. Today, I'm going to be presenting a little seminar, very short, about 7 minutes, about the movement dynamic of levity. And then we will apply the principles from that seminar to 5 different activities for young children related to May Day, May Fair, May Festival, May Dancing. You will see you might see the handouts if you're live with us. If not, they're available at our online store. There will be 4 of them: the Heel and Toe Jolly Rumbelow game, the historic book of Maypole dances with music, which is a gift from the collection of Joan Carr Scheimer, the historic treatise by Olive Witcher, Gravity and Levity in Human Movement, and some links for other videos and audio props that you might find beneficial, music, and verses. There are the 5 activities that we'll be doing and the 2 songs that I will sing for you and give you resources for. In today's program, we will enter the world of the quality of levity or lifting in the movement development of the young child. As I said, I'll give a little talk and then we'll share the movement activities for May and discuss just how levity is enhanced in each one. Our key principle of this program is gravity and especially levity. The concept of the polarity of gravity and levity are key to our understanding of movement in general and in movement with young children in particular. We are all familiar with the effects of gravity in our everyday life. We drop something, it falls to the ground, often with a noisy bump if it's heavy, or even if it's a feather, it floats lightly downwards. Not only do things fall downwards, they fall towards the center of the earth. While we experience ourselves mostly on the relatively flat and level plane of the floor or the ground, actually, of course, our earth is round and gravity is pulling from the center of the earth downwards to all the surfaces of the earth. Imagine that. The pull of gravity comes from the center of the earth. The feeling of weightedness, of heaviness is initiated from the center of the earth, not from our bodies pressing downwards. This distinction is helpful, particularly now when we consider levity. It is the opposite quality and gesture of lightness and lift. It is not, however, a pressing upwards or even a reaching, but rather a drawing upwards with the invitation to the lift coming from the opposite of the center of the earth, from the widest periphery. When we think of a seedling growing in the garden, we may sense that it is growing upwards toward the sun and the sky. But if we consider the activity of the levity forces, also known as etheric or formative forces, we can begin to perceive that actually the warmth and the light, the activities of levity, are drawing the green stem and leaves of the plant upwards. The growth of the plant is a result of the lifting forces of the sun and warmth, not a pushing upward of the plant. As adult human beings on Earth, we certainly experience gravity more strongly than levity. And as we age, like me, we can even see that we are not only being pulled downwards, sagging a bit, maybe dragging a bit, but physically inwards as well, as we gradually loosen our connections to the levity forces. This is a natural process. For the infant and the young child, the process is inverted. The child is born gently into the physical body, yet for years is still experiencing this expanded space of the cosmos, fully connecting to the levity growth forces. Gradually, through its own process, the child comes lightly onto the earth, achieving a quality of physical balance between gravity and levity at about age 11. We know this balance moment, then moving toward the weightedness of puberty and adolescence, eventually finding a harmonious balance again as a young adult. This distinction of responding to the pull of gravity or the draw of levity versus pushing downwards or upwards is important as we consider the child's development and the child's movement. Dribbling a basketball, for example, has a downward push from the hand, from the shoulder, from the whole body, a repeated staccato gesture that practices connecting with the downward dynamic of gravity. After the age of 11, this motion has a healthy and playful role in a child's development and new experience of weightedness toward becoming ripe with the earth. A young child dribbling, however, brings it downwards too early. Lightly bouncing a balloon in the air can be seen and experienced as the opposite gesture. Jumping for joy can be seen as sheer exuberance, lifting us as if by magic. You can see it everywhere. Laughing, of course, is pure levity. What else can we think of? Bubbles, beach balls, swinging, twirling, skipping, hopping, and lightly jumping, of course. The young child's realm is that of lightness, of lifting. As early childhood educators, we must be certain to select activities that invite that quality more so than gravity. We must choose. And we must also provide that quality in our own movements so that the child can imitate them. We must be able to change ourselves along the spectrum of gravity to levity. It's not easy. Movement training helps. Fascinated? I hope so. I've included a set of marvelous articles written by the late, great Olive Witcher, a well-known Waldorf teacher, author, and mathematician from England, that can take you into deeper study. So what movements invite the child into levity rather than gravity? Raising our arms in an imagination, the sun, the stars, the sky, a bird, the branches of a tree, are examples not just of lifting, but in providing an image that invites the lifting. It's not enough to lift the arms. The arms are lifted by the image. This process calls levity into play with the formative etheric forces of the growing child. I'll share some movement activities with you next. Here we go. Now let's review the key principles that I just mentioned. Gravity and levity are opposites or polarities on a spectrum between heaviness and lightness. And the growing child is somewhere on that spectrum. The younger they are, the more they are connected to the levity. And as they mature toward puberty and adolescence, more weighted and grounded they become. Another way to experience gravity and levity is from the realm of the sphere. The earth is a sphere, and I mentioned about the center of gravity being at the center of the earth and the levity being at the widest periphery of possibly even infinity. So this is another aspect. Gravity increases toward the center, and lightness increases toward the periphery. Another spatial gesture of the same principle. The young child lives mostly in this lightness, and that weightedness and lightness are not actions of pushing downwards or upwards, but activities of being drawn, pulled, or invited in one direction or another. Now, let's take a look at this game, Heel and Toe Jolly Rumbelow. It's a adaptation from a traditional tune and dance from Ireland that accentuates spatial orientation, sense of movement, sense of balance, anticipation, and surprise for the child. It includes the healing gestures of arms and hands. You might recognize this eurythmy gesture of the W in this calling gesture, and it enlivens this transformation of the seasons that we're in right now between early springtime toward the summer.
Heel and toe, jolly rumbelow. Heel and toe, jolly rumbelow. We've been up long before the day-o, to welcome in the summer, to welcome in the Mayo, 'cause summer is a-comin' in, and winter's gone away-o. Heel and toe, jolly rumbelow. We've been up long before the day-o, to welcome in the summer, to welcome in the Mayo, 'cause summer is a-comin' in, and winter's gone away-o-wee-ho.
Let's take a look at some of the gestures in this game. If you've seen our hands, gesture, and voice program, you probably have already developed a sense of perception to be able to answer some of these questions I'm going to pose right now. What was the first movement in this game? How did I do it? And why did I do it? The heel and toe movement. What do you think about that for the young child? Do you think that that is healthy to bring them a little bit down into their feet? I think so, and I practice it obviously in this game. Can you notice that my voice follows the movement, that actually the movement begins a split second before the voice says the verse of the image of the picture of the story at that moment? As we look again, let's sharpen our powers of observation and enjoy heel and toe, jolly rumbelow. You might like to do it along with me. Here we go.
Heel and toe, jolly rumbelow. Heel and toe, jolly rumbelow. We've been up long before the day-o, to welcome in the summer, to welcome in the Mayo, 'cause summer is a-comin' in, and winter's gone away-o. Heel and toe, jolly rumbelow. We've been up long before the day-o, to welcome in the summer, to welcome in the Mayo, 'cause summer is a-comin' in, and winter's gone away-o-wee-ho.
Now, let's take a look at this new finger game that comes to us from my dear friend Heather Lanier, spatial dynamics colleague from Big Sur, California. Some of you may be familiar with Heather's work in parenting and in Waldorf early childhood education. Here is this great game.
Little chicks come out to play, happy on this sunny day. Little chicks go peep, 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 peep. Calls their mama, come my babies, sleep, sleep, sleep. One by one they find their way unto their nest of new mown hay.
Now let's review our key principles as we look at the gestures in this finger game. We have the little nest, and the little chicks come out to play. They come rising toward the sunlight. Quality, the sun is the image of the levity that the chicks follow. We also have the other spatial picture of the center and the wide periphery as they go out to play. Peep, 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 peep. They go so far away, Mama has to look for them. She calls them. They come in again toward home, toward the center, back to the nest. Very satisfying and, in fact, an essential gesture for the little child to come home again, close into the trusted adult, and out again into the world as far as the classroom, their home environment. We'll look at that again.
Little chicks come out to play, happy on this sunny day. Little chicks go peep, 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 peep. Calls their mama, come my babies, sleep, sleep, sleep. One by one they find their way unto their nest of new mown hay.
Little Chicks Come Out to Play is available in our games collection, Games Children Sing and Play. You can order that on Amazon or at Rudolph Steiner College Bookstore, Steiner Books, or at our online store. We have the instructions for the movement, the verse, and even a CD with the tune if you don't remember it. Now we're going to listen to two traditional folk songs about springtime and May, and I will sing those for you and also give you the links to hear the recordings of them afterwards. I learned these songs as a Waldorf teacher at San Francisco Waldorf School to accompany simple dancing around what would be the Maypole in the classroom, because I did not have the luxury of having a live musician. So my voice is the next best thing, or maybe even better for the younger children.
Here's a branch of snowy May, a branch the fairies gave me. Who would like to dance today with a branch the fairies gave me? Dance away, holding high the branch of May. Dance away, holding high the branch of May. Here we go round the Maypole high, Maypole high, Maypole high. Here we go round the Maypole high, the colored ribbons fly. Lasses and lads go skipping by, skipping by, skipping by. Lasses and lads go skipping by, the colored ribbons fly.
So those were the two tunes. Now I'd like to speak a bit about actually working and presenting the dances around the Maypole, using scarves in a simple version and ribbons in a more elaborate setting. I have extended instructions on a blog post on the website at the Movement Academy project that describes in detail the weaving around the Maypole that comes out of my spring story, Ufa Goes to Sea. If you have a story that creates the context for Maypole dancing, I would love to hear that and also to share that with others. And here's a description of beginning to work with the silks.
Setting up a maypole practice for young children using silk scarves. So I have in my hand about a dozen silk scarves, mostly the same length, not so important. And I'm going to show you how I distribute them in a neat way that helps the children understand spatially what we are going to be doing. So I will lay the scarves out on the floor in as radiating from the center. So I'll lay them out like that. And if you have a helper, like I do, she helps. So this goes a little faster, but it doesn't need to go quickly because it's so beautiful to see the circle created and the children get excited about the color, and soon you hear, I like pink, I like the blue, or always the surprise, I like brown. I'm always surprised at that one. So I lay out the colors. They do not get to choose their color, however. That would be chaos. We choose it for them, but I often am able to manage to make sure that the child who loves brown, for instance, maybe gets brown. Sometimes I can manage that. So the scarves are arranged in a circle toward the center. And then either myself or my helper goes into the center, and the other one will hand out the peripheral ends of the scarves to each of the children, while the center person collects the corners for the center. And this is quite magical. Right now, by myself here, it looks like a little bit cumbersome, but with the children, this is actually quite a magical process where this circle comes alive. Then I will become the maypole myself, and I will hold these clasped scarves as high as I can upwards, and possibly disappear from sight. So we'll see what happens. But here I go. I'm going to raise them as high as I can. So you have to imagine that I'm in the center, and all around me are the children, like equally distant around, forming this circle. We have photos of that to show you.
Now, of course, your winding will not go perfectly with little ones, and helpers are always wonderful. You don't need lots of helpers, but they can help polish it up. But we do, of course, want to have the maypole be out of a story so that there is a larger picture of why they are doing what they're doing. It makes sense. It has coherence in the child's life. So the children will walk clockwise around. Here's a picture of them doing that with me. They will walk around into the left clockwise, stop when when the group runs out of scarf, and change hands, go the opposite direction to unwind, and then I will have them finish by facing the center, and I will count 1, 2, 3, and at 3 they let go their ends of the scarves, and then they fall to the floor, and it's quite beautiful. Today I worked with a group of adults with the silks, doing a little maypole progression. just as I showed you with the little ones, laying the silks on the floor. But I had another teacher be the Maypole, and when he stood up in the center at his full height and the extension of his arm up ahead, so over 6 feet, 7 feet, everyone in the room just gasped in awe at the majesty of this rising pole. It was just amazing to imagine how beautiful it is, even for the little ones, on a low pole of a teacher sitting in the middle. Now with ribbons, if you want to work with ribbons, you can have a very large pole, and then you have a real Maypole. With your own group in kindergarten or preschool, you can have any number of ribbons. It doesn't matter. But if you will be working in a community setting with other dancing groups and adults, you will want to have multiples of 4 for your ribbons. 16, 20, 24, for example, for all the different kinds of weaving dances that there are that you'll want to be able to do for your community. As you're laying out the ribbons or establishing your pole, the length of the ribbons is usually half again as high as the pole. If you've got a 10-foot pole, your ribbons would be about 15 feet. There's a link for you to our Pinterest page, which also has some instructions on constructing a maypole, and especially how to establish the crown with the ribbons on it. So some variations that you might want to do with your group of younger children is walking in and out toward the pole and backwards away. You might skip forward and back in and out of the pole. It's traditional to have a bow or a curtsy at the beginning of the dance, or at the end of the dance. Slipping sideways, a sideways sachet is always nice. Often a phrase of 8 to the left and 8 to the right and home, all the way to home. And another simple variation is to have the dancers be alternating. Maybe 1s and 2s would be a simple way to describe it, but you would have a more imaginative picture. And one group holds their ribbons up high and moves in one direction. The other group holds their ribbons low and moves in the opposite direction at the same time. And a beautiful double spiral develops that is very satisfying for the group doing it and also for those watching it. Something really special happens there. Now, ideally, the preschool children will not have to perform their Maypole in front of parents or the community. In my opinion, it's too much attention on them to perform rather than have an inner musical movement experience that they can just live into. But if you have to, like I do from time to time, don't make a big deal of it. Don't prepare the children too much that their parents are coming and it's so important and they better do it right. I would not build it up so much. If the parents are there, I invite them to join and maybe even share the ribbon with the child. Have live music, have a fiddler or recorder or an accordion player, and meet ahead of time with your musician to help set tempo together, because it is a sad surprise when the music is way too fast or way too slow for what your group is expecting. And my experience is that you, as the teacher, will need your voice to call out the cues and coaching to the children not singing one of our tunes. So, have another musician there to set the pace and the quality of the dancing. Now, here is a game for older children that's lovely at a May festival or in preparation leading up to a May event. It's my adaptation of the classic Wind Up the Apple Tree game. And I played it with children in ages grades 3 and up very successfully. It is not for the little ones, and you will see why as I describe it to you. There's 2 verses. The first one repeats as long as the action needs it, and same with the second one. Wind up the May tree, hold on tight. Wind it up all day and wind it up all night. Wind up the May tree, hold on tight. Wind it up all day and wind it up all night. And the second part of the tune is, stir up the dumplings, the pot boils over. Stir up the dumplings, the pot boils over. Let me talk the action through with you. The children will hold hands in a line. So most of them have their hands held on either side. And there will be one child at the end, at either end. And one will be the May tree. That child will stand firmly with its roots deep into the ground. And the child at the other end, which at the beginnings of practices will be the leader, often me, until the group knows that the action, and you can select a student that can handle that responsibility of doing a nice job. As the song begins, wind up the May tree, the leader walks forward and begins to lead the whole group in what becomes a spiral around that May tree. And it takes quite a few repetitions of the song to wind up the group. And then as the group is all wound, we sing the second part, stir up the dumplings, the pot boils over, as the children all jump up and down as a group, and then the leader begins the unwinding as quickly as possible with no one letting go or falling down. And as you practice this with the older children, there is quite a bit of letting go and falling down, which is part of the fun. Alrighty, so here is a very sweet Maypole poem I came across in searching for Maypole stories. Speak it with me. See our Maypole filled with flowers, gathered from the lovely bowers, fragrant, rich, and perfume rare, tell us of the woods so fair. Violets, purple, daisies, white, you are here for our delight. What is this, the flowers say? It is the bright, bright, bright May day. Videos of this program and more of our masterclass series are available on our Vimeo channel. There is the link. If you're interested in next steps with me and the Movement Academy project, I have a Skype mentoring program, the continuing masterclass series, and live workshops in San Francisco and throughout the world, actually, and by request. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time.